We are now well over 24 hours into free agency, and after a chaotic day one, while there's still some big name players available like Matthew Dumba, Patrick Kane, Tarasenko, Bertuzzi, things have definitely slowed down. We aren't getting signings every other minute. So in this video, I wanted to go over some of my favorite and least favorite signings from free agency so far. As always, these are just my opinions. I want to know what you guys think, so if there's anybody that you think I missed for either a good or bad signing, let me know down below in the comments. With that all being said, let's go ahead and get started, and I'll start off on a positive note with what in my opinion might be the best signing of free agency so far, and that is the Dallas Stars signing Matt Duchene to a 1-year $3 million deal. Matt Duchene was a surprise addition to the UFA market after being bought out by the Nashville Predators just a few days before free agency opened. At 32 years old, Matt Duchene is still a very productive, offensive-minded top 6 center. He finished second on the Nashville Predators in scoring this past season with 56 points in 71 games. He's only one season removed from when he put up a career-high 43-goal, 86-point season with the Preds in 21-22. In my opinion, Matt Duchene was a top 3 forward available on the market. I figured he would sign a deal somewhere in the range of 3 to 4 years, a cap of $5 million per, so I was really shocked when I seen he signed just a 1-year $3 million deal with Dallas. Matt Duchene must have really wanted to play for the Dallas Stars, because I find it hard to believe that this is the best offer that he got. Like I mentioned, in my opinion, this might be the best signing of free agency so far. Even if Matt Duchene has a bad year in Dallas, it's only a 1-year deal with a cap of $3 million. This is such a low risk, high reward signing for Dallas, easily one of the best of free agency so far. Moving on now to one of the worst signings of free agency so far, we have the Detroit Red Wings signing defenseman Justin Hall to a 3-year $10.2 million contract, an annual cap of $3.4 million. The Red Wings now have over $8 million tied up per season between Justin Hall and Ben Sherratt for the next 3 seasons. I know the Red Wings had a massive hole on the right side in the top 4 after trading Philip Hronek to the Vancouver Canucks, and it was something that I figured Steve Yzerman would address this offseason, whether it was via trade or in free agency, and you're telling me Justin Hall is going to be the guy to fill that hole. Now let me say, I don't think Justin Hall is a terrible defenseman. I feel like he was overhated in Toronto. He kind of became the punching bag for that fan base. Now that being said, I don't think he's someone that should be relied upon to play a top 4 role, to play 20 plus minutes a night. As a bottom pairing defenseman, playing maybe 15 or so minutes a night, killing penalties, I think that is a role Justin Hall could thrive in, but that is clearly not the role he's going to be playing in Detroit, because you don't give those kind of defensemen, 3-year contracts worth north of $10 million. I feel like the last 2 free agencies now from Steve Yzerman have been so hit or miss. He's made a lot of signings that I've really liked, and we're actually going to talk about one of those that I really like in this video, but he's also made some, head-scratching decisions, like the Ben Sherratt contract last offseason. That was a contract that at the time it was signed, everybody knew it was probably going to be a pretty bad deal, and sure enough, Ben Sherratt's first season with the Red Wings was a complete disaster. I feel like this Justin Hall contract, while not as long and not as rich, is eerily similar to that Ben Sherratt deal, where at the time it was signed, it was heavily criticized, and I don't really have a lot of faith that Justin Hall is going to live up to this price point. Next up, we have another one of the best signings from free agency so far, the Arizona Coyotes signing Jason Zucker to a 1-year contract worth $5.3 million. Jason Zucker is coming off of a season in which he scored the second highest amount of goals he's scored in a single season in his career with 27. This is a perfect signing for a team like the Arizona Coyotes, who made it known that they want to be a little bit more competitive next season. Jason Zucker is somebody that can help you do that, and he's a guy that I think is going to be a very valuable trade chip at next year's trade deadline, especially given the fact that he signed just a 1-year deal. You retain 50% of his $5.3 million cap hit, depending on, what kind of year he has next season in Arizona. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a guy that could net you maybe a first-round pick. Moving back over to one of the worst signings of free agency so far, we have the Anaheim Ducks signing forward Alex Killorn to a 4-year deal worth $25 million. That is an AAV of $6.25 million. Alex Killorn is coming off of a career year with the Tampa Bay Lightning, where he put up 27 goals and 64 points, both career highs. Killorn is somebody who plays off of stars very well. He's not going to be the main focus of your offense, more of a complimentary guy. He's not going to be the one driving the play. I do think Killorn is a really solid player, but there's just a lot of red flags to me personally when it comes to this signing. He's 33 years old. Like I mentioned, he is coming off of a career year, but he had an unsustainably high 18.9 shooting percentage. You have to imagine those numbers are going to come down quite a bit, especially in Anaheim, where he's not going to be playing with the likes of Stamkos, Kucherov, and Point. point. Now, yes, the Anaheim Ducks did have to spend money just to hit the cap floor. Even after making this signing, they're still not even at the cap floor, which I believe is a little over $61 million. But I just feel like, especially for a team in the Anaheim Ducks situation, they're rebuilding. They would have been better off giving guys 1 or 2 year short-term deals that you can look to flip for additional assets down the road. This is a contract that I wouldn't be surprised if we look at, 2 years from now and it might be the worst on the team. Moving back over now to another one of the best signings, we have the Washington Capitals signing forward Max Pacioretty to a 1-year deal with a cap hit of $2 million. Before free agency opened, I made a video talking about players that I think could be steals in free agency. Max Pacioretty was a part of that video due to the fact that Pacioretty is coming off of 2 pretty serious injuries. He only played 5 games this past season. I figured we would probably see him sign a deal similar to this one. This is another low risk, high reward move. I'm a big fan of signings like this because even if Max Pacioretty can't stay healthy in Washington, or maybe he is healthy and playing but he's a shell of his former self, it's only a 1-year deal worth $2 million. It's not a contract that's really going to hinder the Washington Capitals at all. This is a guy that scored at a 30+ goal pace his final 3 seasons in Vegas. Despite playing just 5 games this past season in Carolina, he did score 3 goals in those 5 games. I love this signing for the Capitals, and I'm really rooting for Max Pacioretty. Moving on now to another one of the worst signings of free agency so far, we have the Toronto Maple Leafs signing Ryan Reeves to a 3-year deal worth $4.05 million. That is an annual cap hit of $1.35 million. Let me start by saying I really like Ryan Reeves. He's one of my favorite personalities in the NHL, but especially at 36 years old, this just isn't the kind of player that I feel like you commit 3 years to, especially for $1.35 million a season. If this was, a 1-year, $1 million signing, then I really wouldn't have any problem with it. Ryan Reeves is a 4th line checking forward, plays, on average about 9 minutes a night, takes a lot of penalties, likes to fight. He's gonna stand up for his teammates. He's an intimidating force out there. And of course, there's the off-ice aspect to this as well. Ryan Reeves, wherever he's went, has been a very popular locker room guy, big personality, fun to be around. But again, I just don't think this is the kind of player, especially at 36 years old, that you give this kind of contract to, especially for a team that is as cap-strapped as the Toronto Maple Leafs are. Next up, we have another one of the best signings of free agency so far, the Boston Bruins signing James Van Riemsdyk to a 1-year deal with a cap hit of $1 million. If you couldn't tell, it's been a little bit of a theme, but a lot of the signings that I really like from free agency so far have been 1-year deals. There's just really no risk involved at all, especially when it's a 1-year deal as cheap as this one, at just $1 million bucks. Obviously, James Van Riemsdyk isn't the player that he once was. He's a lot slower now at this point in his career. He's 34 years old, but he's a guy that I think still brings some nice depth to the Bruins middle six. I think he can still get you 20 goals in a season. Obviously, he's a very good net front guy on the power play, fantastic set of hands in tight. JVR at that price point, I feel like is a really solid get for the Bruins. Moving back over now to another one of the worst signings, we have the Ottawa Senators signing goaltender Jonas Korpisalo to a 5-year, $20 million contract, carries an annual cap hit of $4 million. Now, I know the Ottawa Senators were desperate for a starting goaltender, and Jonas Korpisalo is coming off of a really strong season with the Blue Jackets and Kings, but this is a guy who has notoriously been very inconsistent throughout his NHL career, and like I mentioned, he is coming off of a really strong season, but the 2 seasons before that, he was really bad. Committing $20 million over the next 5 seasons to a goaltender with as up and down of a career as Korpisalo has had, I think is a really big gamble for the Senators. Now, it's one that could definitely pay off. When Korpisalo is on, he is very good. We've seen him perform at the highest level in the playoffs. He's tall, he's athletic. If the Ottawa Senators get the Korpisalo from this past season, then I think they're going to be really happy with this contract, but given how his career has gone up until this point, I'm not sure how confident I am in the fact that Ottawa is going to get that version of Korpisalo night in and night out. Moving on now to the final good signing we're going to talk about in this video, the Detroit Red Wings signing Daniel Sprong to a 1-year contract with a cap hit of $2 million. Despite only averaging around 11.5 minutes of ice time per game this past season with the Seattle Kraken, Daniel Sprong scored a career-high 21 goals and 46 points in just 66 games. He finished 16th in the entire NHL in goals per 60 minutes. For a team that's as starved for goals as the Detroit Red Wings are, they need finishers. Getting a guy like Daniel Sprong after the season he just had for just $2 million for 1 season is a fantastic signing. This is a prove-it contract for Daniel Sprong. Do I expect him to replicate the per 60 numbers that he put up this past season? No, but in Detroit, likely taking on a much bigger role than the role he had this past season in Seattle. Based on what I've seen from Sprong this past season, I don't see any reason why, if he stays healthy for a full 82 game schedule, he can't hit that 20 goal mark again. Fantastic signing for the Red Wings, and this is a big big year for Sprong. This is definitely a prove it contract. And now finally finishing out the video with another one of the worst signings from free agency, we have the Colorado Avalanche signing forward Miles Wood to a 6-year deal worth $15 million total and an AAV of 2.5 mil. Now I don't think Miles Wood is a bad player by any means. I think he does well in his role, which is a fourth line energy guy, you know, hard hitting, solid forechecker, can chip in some offense as well. This is a guy who's had a 19 goal season, but that's a little bit of an outlier. Definitely not something you should expect from him every season, but he can get you around the 15 goal mark. It's similar to what I said about Ryan Reeves, not that Wood and Reeves are the same player, they're far from it, but I'm just not a big fan of giving long-term deals to, you know, bottom pairing defensemen or fourth line forwards like Miles Wood is and has been for the Devils for the past couple of seasons. Of the 5 signings in this video that I thought were some of the worst of free agency so far though, I would probably say this is, you know, the least bad of the 5, but that about wraps up this video going over some of the best and worst signings from free agency so far. Again, this was just my opinion. I know there's probably going to be quite a few of you that disagree with me on some of these, so be sure to let me know how you're feeling about this list down below if you think I missed anybody. If you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave it a like. That's the best way to show your support. And most importantly, if this is your first time checking out the channel and you want more NHL content just like this all summer long, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll talk to you all soon.